Hello, I am Annemie, and today we're going to be taking a look inside the Talos Principle. No, that lambda is an A. The Talos Principle. That's what we're going to be having a look inside. This is a puzzler from the same people that did Serious Sam, and I'm going to be showing you a few puzzles and hopefully trying to give you an idea about whether or not this game is for you. For people who find this important, I've got a FPS counter which the game helpfully gives you up in the top right. It lets you have an unlimited frame rate if that is your desire, so that is good. I'm going to be avoiding story spoilers for the first part of it. I'll be talking a little bit about story later on, but I will warn you when that's about to happen. So this is a puzzle world. See, we got the Dawn Star, the Day Star. Venus is the Dawn Star. Regardless, you've essentially got a little hub with signposts to various Tetris pieces, and in order to get those Tetris pieces, you have to solve puzzles. There is the occasional puzzle you can do outside of these designated puzzling zones. They're usually to get stars, which, as you can see, I've only got 2 of, mostly because I haven't been bothered with it because they don't really give you a good idea as to where the stars are. So let's have a look at one of the puzzles I've not done yet. Let's have a look at... Have I done this one yet? No, let's do this one. So you've got a few different mechanics in play. You got buttons. Buttons do roughly what you would expect. They would activate and deactivate blocks. You've got fans. They will blow you up in the air, which you can detach and use them to depress buttons. So this is a red Tetris piece game, and what that means is that these are actually generally a bit harder than the other puzzles. You've got green, yellow, and red. Green ones are generally, at least for the first part of your game, your required puzzles, your storyline puzzles. The yellow ones will unlock new powers for you. And the red ones at the start are optional, but they become less optional later on. So you see we've got this fan going. If we were to remove this cube, the fan would stop. And we can use it to fly over. Well, that was fun. That there's the laser beam that will... It's your typical light puzzle type of thing. Okay, I don't really know what to do from here, so we could try and get to this cube there. That would be useful. So getting that would be useful. Where's the actual Tetris block? There's a button through there. So I've not done this puzzle before. Unfortunately, you can't really redo puzzles once you have done them. There's the block we need to get to. So it's okay, yeah, through that. You can't really redo puzzles once you've done them. Otherwise, I would show you some of the earlier game puzzles, and actually in a previous record I tried to do that, but that was... I don't think it was particularly informative, let's put it that way. Ah, okay. No, that's not going to work. I'm going to see if I could... I'm not going to spend too much time just randomly stuck in a puzzle, or I might cut some bits out to show how it actually works a bit better. So once we provide power to that, I reckon those fans will go on. But in order to do that, we need to get that away from there. And I'm not sure how to do that yet. Let's attach that. Let's go back to the other side, see what's happening. I don't think there's a way to get over there without... Because you can send these blocks over the wall Well, actually, can I just hand it through? No. I mean, I can't. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to get through there anyway then. But let's put that there. So let's just have a little bit of a hunt around. So that we can't see the receiver over there. We can see that receiver. But unfortunately there's a little bit of a grating in the way. Which will make this... There's another thing over there. Ooh, there's another one here. That is very helpful. Okay then. So I guess let's start by connecting that to that. Grab this box. Put it on that button. So you can see here one of the fundamental rules of the game. Actually, that's impacting here. But one of the fundamental rules is that you can't cross the streams. We're working via Ghostbuster principles. So we've got this box now. Also quite like to get around here, but that seems a bit harder to do currently. Okay. Let's... Ooh. Yes, this is how that'll get done. We'll just temporarily connect it to that. We'll connect it to that. I'll put that down there. Grab this box and fan, and let me just turn the lights up. Okay, I think we'll need to go for hopefully see what I'm getting at in a minute. Gonna put that on there. Gonna put the box on top. And where's the laser thing? There's the laser thing. I'm gonna connect that. Oop. Okay. It doesn't quite work because we can't actually see any of the lasers. So, I should be able to show, I'm putting it, say, here, that yes, that will start activating the fans, and from here I get a decent view of both of those connectors. So on here I'm also going to connect that. So I guess the question now is, how would we do anything about that? Okay, so I think I've figured out part of the puzzle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send this cube and this light beam thingy over to where we were before. Because we can do that. Nicely flies over. Unfortunately, you can't send just the emitter over. It has to have a cube at its base, otherwise it'll start flying very erratically. And then we can start doing something. I guess unfortunately I screwed it up a moment ago, so I had to restart the puzzle. It's fairly simple to do that, although sometimes frustrating that it will let you get into positions where all you can do is restart. Say you didn't move quickly enough or something like that, and it forces you to start again from the beginning. Unfortunately, you can't climb over with these objects, which is a little bit of a shame. Let's see if I can post it through the letterbox. I've not actually tried this before. This is one of the negative, slightly negative parts of the game. Now you can't pick that up. Is that it doesn't necessarily give you a good indication of what you can and cannot do. So, for instance, there are mines in the game, and you can actually place these cubes on top of the mines, which you then use to carry yourself, which the game doesn't tell you about. One of the things that was slightly more frustrating for me, I actually didn't have as much of a problem with the mine coffee table thing as some other people did, but I was stuck on a puzzle for quite some time because the game never told you anywhere about potentially dropping things in mid-air. It just seemed like you were being moved from one place to another with no real control. You can't move in the air or anything like that. Okay, so I decided that I can't necessarily spend all day on this today. I've got to record something else today, so not going to get to see the solution of that puzzle, which I guess is kinda good. But one of the positives of this game is it does give you lots of options. That's an audio log, don't want to run into that. Is that if you get stuck on something, you can just go somewhere else and do a completely different puzzle. And the puzzles, they all feel quite similar, but they all use different mechanics. So this one here, you see it still has these sorts of light puzzles, these light wall puzzles, but it also has a little recording device here where, say, I do something like that, then another copy of me will do the exact same thing while I can manipulate the exact same object that my duplicate utilized for a different purpose. So you can essentially get twice as many objects in a puzzle to get around items. So let's head back to the main world. So as you can see, that was, I guess, world number 7 in this big hall. There's a little axe here. This is hall... I reckon that axe might be used to break through there. Not actually done this before. Yay! Let's ignore that for the moment. I'll come back to that in my own time. So this is Hall C. And this is the third of 3 of these halls. Each with a different feeling in the world. So as you saw, that one was kind of medieval. We had another one that was a bit more sort of foresty. And there's also a snowy, but not as medieval world. And they're just each full, I'd estimate, maybe about 4 per world, maybe about 7 or so worlds per chamber. So, what, 28, roughly 90 different puzzles. And then you've got this big tower at the end, which I've not actually been to yet, but this is the big end game thing. So, if you like these sorts of puzzles, this game is very much for you. In terms of story, a lot of it is told through text documents that you find in terminals throughout the world. Terminals that you also kind of slightly have a conversation with. It's not really a spoiler, it's like one of the first things you do with them. So it's very much trying to piece together a story from fragments, like a lot of indie games tend to do. Let's head to... let's go to World 2. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more strongly about the story so you can see sort of a Colosseum thing. So if you don't want to hear the story, stop listening now. So it becomes quite clear early on that this is a simulation, and it's a simulation that the designers spent their last few years on the planet, or the last, not just necessarily the last few years, but there was some catastrophe that happened, and this is supposed to be the designer's sort of everlasting, what's the word? Legacy. That's the word. This is what's going to live on beyond them, and you see quite a lot of heart-wrenching text logs about their last days and so on, which I find fairly engrossing. So the story was hit and miss for me. I liked it early on. I got a little bit bored of it in the midsection and then stopped listening to, or stopped reading the audio prompts. Sorry, I was just looking at what was happening. I stopped listening to the audio prompts. Is that not on? Why is that not on? There must be a switch to turn it on. There must be a second of these. Well, that's actually cheats way through which I unlock. Pretty done this puzzle. Why am I fretting about this? I've even completely forgotten what I was talking about. So yes, it's got... interesting. I got a little bit bored of it in the midsection, but then came back towards it later on. So the story isn't 100% perfect. It's not the most engrossing thing in the world, but you don't play these games necessarily for the story. The story is an added bonus. Portal would have been amazing without GLaDOS. Let's put it that way, because the puzzles were well designed and they were fun to do. See, this is one of the stars I was talking about, which is blocked by a force shield, which I'd need to figure out some way to deactivate. And this game, it's not as good as Portal, it's not as clever as Portal. There is no new mechanic which will make you think, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing ever. What it is I just popped in, is a large number of things you can do whilst doing other stuff. So this is the sort of game that I will turn the music off on and I will put up a podcast and just listen to that whilst having something to do with my hands and brain here. It does occupy you, don't get me wrong. Well then, it does occupy you because, as you could see from the fact that I didn't solve that puzzle earlier on, some of the puzzles are quite difficult, or I'm quite stupid, one or the other. But it's not that expensive on Steam. And if you think that you might like this, I would give it a shot. If you like puzzling, this is puzzles. These are well-designed puzzles. So I can't just give a simple, this game is good, this game is not good recommendation. It's well put together, but it's all going to depend on what you like, much more so than with other types of games. So I guess that's it. If you like being a bit cerebral every now and then with a story you have to piece together, go and buy the Talos Principle. If you don't like doing that sort of thing, don't buy the Talos Principle. But anyway, thank you for giving me your attention. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Goodbye.